Kenny Clark, and this is Lombardi's Bar.
This is one of my favorite podcasts to do.
I'm just, blessed and thankful to be a part of this podcast. It's a great podcast. It's a great interview.
Maybe I know that you guys obviously being the best Packers podcast that's out there.
I had Malort this weekend, so I'm not tasting anything.
Oh, good.
He did.
God.
He did. That was fantastic.
Because it said, "Did you ever try Malort?" And I said, "No." And then it said, "Do you want to take a shot of Malort?" I said, "No," but I did.
Wait, who said
It's called peer pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to get in a high honors English class once, and they called my parents and were like, "Hey, just tell him he can't do it."
It shows. It really shows.
I hate you guys so much.
I'm going to throw these two guys into the screen so that if I die, they can carry on the legacy of crap that is this show.
Oh, it always goes down so easy after a game like Sunday. Doesn't it, Packer fans? Thank you so much for joining us here at Lombardi's Bar. I am your bartender, Dan Kotnick, and we are getting ready to talk about a fantastic weekend up at Lambeau. The Packers 41-17 winner over the Minnesota Vikings and are now one game, 4 quarters away from a playoff spot. Did not think we would be ever doing this show. Never in my life. Let's bring in two guys who, rightfully so, doubted me and doubted me in my doubting. Doubted my doubting early on. Todd, what are you putting in the chat?
You're trying so hard not to burn.
I was not trying to. I was not trying
The
to.
eyes were watering. You were just.
I'm dealing with this cough.
Oh yeah,
I had some phlegm. I had phlegm in my throat. I was trying not to.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, Iowa Joe. Good to see you. Dan, you ready for the reunion?
I'm gonna blow by any of these comments.
I'm not.
Did you ever think we'd be having this discussion, Todd?
I did.
Truthfully.
I honestly, when they were at 3%, I said, I cannot quit this team. I feel like they can go on a run. And if they do and they get in the playoffs, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm standing by it. I can't quit these guys.
Todd's calling Super Bowl. Jimmy?
Yes.
Which way are you leaning? How are you feeling? Did you ever think we would be here today?
No, I didn't. There was always that small hope. Obviously I wanted to, and I hope we were, but I did not think it was going to happen. I thought we had just the way we've been losing to teams and the teams we've lost to. I was just like, yeah, we're going to fuck this up somehow. But every time we kept winning, especially that Bears game, then the Rams, I was just irrationally confident after that of we're going to make the playoffs. But probably until going into the Dolphins is once we beat them, then I was just 100% sure pretty much that we'd be going in. But week 12, I was ready to just blow up the season and bench Rodgers for Jordan Love.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And let's Chad, I appreciate the undying, unwavering support for this for
also the bullshit support.
I'm so sorry.
Todd, there's no way you actually thought we were going to make the playoffs. You hoped we were going to make the playoffs. There's no way you thought we were going to.
I was behind this team. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. That's how I know you're full of shit.
Oh, this is
once you do this, I've Todd.
This is you. This is
you.
When I asked you how many beers you had at the game, and you said not a million.
No, I said I wish I had a million.
Yeah. So look for Jimmy running a 10K this summer.
I didn't say I drank anything. I just said I wish I had a million. You said how many did you have? I said I wish I had a million.
And then you were real quick when I asked you about other drugs. You were like, nothing. No.
Yeah. I didn't know who's tapping the conversation.
Like you ever shied away from talking about drugs before, idiot. Enjoy that 10K.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But Todd, you seriously couldn't have thought or let me rephrase. you of all people have to admit that if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it was a mistake not to play Jordan Love, right?
No,
Mm-mm.
No?
I don't
Give
think
yourself
so.
a shot.
Because here's the thing, they weren't picking in the top 10 anyways.
They for a little bit
and
they
it's
were,
and
they
here's the thing. So Aaron Rodgers had 159 yards and a touchdown and a rushing touchdown this weekend. Like this run that they're making isn't because Aaron Rodgers has been playing on fire. It's because the rest of the team has also started doing their job. And that's not to say that with Jordan Love in there, this team wouldn't still be winning a few games here and there. So it's not affecting the draft pick that much. I don't see a huge difference between picking 15 and picking 22.
7 spots.
I'm aware of the number, Jimmy.
No, you weren't. I am with.
Oh, no,
Todd.
I thought they were the same number. Yeah. I'm not as bad at math as you are, dipshit.
I mean,
I rattled that off real quick.
Those 7 picks, that's Justin Jefferson. That's the difference between drafting Justin Jefferson and Jordan Love in the first round.
But you have to give your team.
And you're the one that wishes we were playing Jordan Love already. So who would you rather have? Sounds like Jordan Love to me.
Don't you think for how bad the NFC is right now, that the Packer team being as hot as they've started to get, I know we still have to beat the Lions, but that'll just, if we do, that just boosts the momentum. Like going into the playoffs, playing your best football, you take Rodgers and the team playing their best football and a shot at a Super Bowl rather than a middle of the draft or like 10 to 15 pick. Like you give them a shot. We have too much talent on the team to not do it or not try.
The goal every season is to get into the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. And by doing what they did, they put themselves in position to do that, to accomplish those goals. I will not say that, well, because they didn't win the Super Bowl and they didn't play Jordan Love, that was a mistake. Like, no, that's not. They're still alive until you're, like Roger said, he's starting until there's not a shot at the playoffs. I'm good with that.
All I'm saying is,
Dan, you're talking like a Bears fan with loser mentality that all you care about is a higher draft pick. The Packers do not play for a higher draft pick. The Packers play to win fucking championships, Dan. That's what we're here for. So getting into the playoffs, just give yourself a shot. They're playing their best ball. They've got a shot to get in. That is much better than picking fucking 10. I don't care what you say.
Is it though?
Yeah,
we
1,000%.
just rattled off why it's better.
But everybody says that right now. Everybody says that right now in the middle of the heat of the whole thing. Everybody said it in the middle of run the table. And then we get a few months down the line and you kind of start to realize, maybe it wasn't so great that we drug this corpse of a team to the NFC Championship game just to get mollywopped. Maybe it would have been better to not make the playoffs overall.
I don't think that's ever the case.
No.
You got to give yourself a chance. You have Aaron Rodgers and like Todd said, not you, Dan, right now. You said nothing correct. What Todd said, like with our top players are finally stepping up. Kenny Clark, he disappeared for a month. He's back. Quay Walker stepped up. Devondre Campbell looks like himself from last season after he came back from that injury. Watson's been a difference maker on the offense. Like Bakhtiari's back to being healthy and playing. Like the players we paid are stepping up and playing like they should. And this is the team we expected to see all year. Like it just took longer to get to this point. And I was all for fucking benching Rodgers when he had a broken thumb and couldn't play. But now he's not playing incredible. He's not an MVP candidate, but he's playing enough to get the Packers into a winning position and other players are stepping up to help him. Like you can't take a higher draft pick over the situation we're in right now.
But if the options are a higher draft pick or getting beat by 31 points in the NFC Championship game,
but
we don't know that's happening.
Hypothetical is
yeah, we don't know that's happening. We could win by 31.
But that's what happened in Run the Table.
Oh, so every year is going to be like that.
No, but what I'm
Okay, so let's go to more recent history.
No,
what did they
Todd,
lose by in the
what I-
playoffs last year?
Todd,
What did they lose by in the playoffs the year before that?
what
Let's
I
pick
said,
one fucking game from 10 years ago.
what I said, Todd, was that if they don't win the Super Bowl,
Yep.
was it worth it? And
Yep.
I argued that no, it wasn't.
And I'm saying you're wrong.
Okay.
We got to think to like 2010 when we actually won the Super Bowl. That was a team that snuck into the wild card.
But
Like,
that
so
was
would
a
you have
team-
been in that position? That
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
that
better
was-
not to make it.
That's a different team, and you know it's a different team.
They're not
though.
backing
They were
into the
in-
playoffs, Dan. This is a team that is playing the best football they've played all year. There's not a whole lot of teams playing real great in the NFC right now. Don't know if you've missed that. So they've got a shot to beat anybody. Even when they weren't playing their best football, they still almost beat the Eagles, who were playing great football at the time. Do you remember that? The Cowboys. Do you remember when they beat the shit out of the Cowboys? That was fun. Like, the only team that's playing good ball right now in the NFC besides the Packers is the 49ers. And I hope this team has enough fucking nuts to stand up and get a little redemption there.
Can we bring up Micah's comment? Because I agree as long as we say Dan Skip Bayless.
I'm on that.
Yeah. Sorry, Micah, but he just has a horrible take right now. Oh, Alex said it too. Perfect. Let's get to buy around, pay the tab, because we're going to talk in fucking circles because you're not agree with us because we're just smarter than you and you don't see it. And we're not going to agree with you.
Yeah. You're entitled to your own opinion, Dan. It's just dog shit.
Fair. That's fair. I feel like I've defended my argument
Poorly.
I'm not saying anyone has to agree with it. I'm just
Nobody
saying
is.
That's my take. Okay. Okay.
I pray to God we win the Super Bowl just so I can replay this of like, it would have been better not
guys,
to make it.
Nothing.
Nope.
would
I
make
ignored
me
everything else you
happier.
said.
You don't get to
too late.
celebrate it.
Too
You
late.
don't get to
No,
celebrate.
Nothing would make me happier.
If Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, you don't get to celebrate.
Yeah. Your Super Bowl's in 2 days. You set out the real Super Bowl.
Yep.
You can't do that. I'm getting over a cough.
That sounds like you're getting over it.
No, I'm not getting over it.
Yeah, you're doing great, bud. Keeping it together.
Let's buy a round. Jimmy,
I'll,
who you buying a round for?
Yeah, I'll start it up actually. I'm gonna go.
Okay, go ahead.
I was like, I don't give a fuck what you're saying.
I'm gonna go with Amari Rodgers. For being possibly the only person in the organization who knew how good Keshaun Nixon was and just refused to hold on to the ball so that this team would get rid of him, would not let him return kicks and punts anymore so that Nixon could have a shot to show who he is. So shout out to Amari for understanding what was standing behind him and just absolutely shitting the bed to give us this opportunity.
For falling on the
purpose.
grenade. We appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah.
Him
Enjoy
just
Houston.
going in his mind, going up to them and like just saying like, "Hey, put him in instead of me" wasn't enough. He had to like get fired.
And
was
you
the
know
only
what?
solution.
You know what? I do. Nothing but love for Amari. I hope he's nothing but the best for him down there in Houston.
He's catching touchdown passes now. Maybe just one. I think he's only caught one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's take it easy.
That's 100% increase from his production here. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, who you buying around for?
I'm actually going Darnell Savage. We shit on him a lot this year and he deserved it.
Mhm.
Ended up getting benched. Played well when he came in Miami. Played well this last game. Even Rodgers said on the McAfee show, like kind of praised him for his professionalism, being benched, coming in, and he got that pick six. Tipped to him, got it, made a nice little juke move, which was pretty great. And got to give him a drink after we've probably made him pay the tab about 6 times this season. So figured we owe him one now.
Yeah, I liked it. He came out and said like, "Oh, I just realized I couldn't make every play." Well, you weren't making any plays, so good job.
Yeah, about
like you'd be better off just standing there most of the time, at least get in the way instead of trying to make a play and completely overshooting. So,
yeah, that's the thing. I don't think we ever seen him try to make a play. I think it's just been like him trying to be around, so it looked like he was doing it.
I mean, that sort of leads into my buy around because I'm going to go. I'm going to go completely off the wall here, guys. I'm going to buy around for Joey B.
Wow.
For Joe Barry himself.
Didn't see that coming.
I was changed today when I read an article by Dario Carriage. I think it's Carriager. I don't remember how to say his last name.
You got it.
Did my best. Butchered the shit out of it. But he did a really good breakdown of really the changes that he's made with the defensive assignment. They're running a lot more cover 2 and a lot more cover 6, and they're not blitzing as much. And it's putting all of the players on defense.
I don't know what this is about, but I love it.
It could be about a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
Dan's
I don't
confused
know.
too. He's like,
all I know is I turn the computer off and I go into the room and I just wait to be, I don't know. I get a post-game breakdown. It's like a post-game show of our show.
Yeah.
Where Kelsey tells me what she liked and specifically what she thought I did wrong or said wrong on the show, more specifically. So
I can't wait until the day
interested.
I can't wait till the day that you start taking that criticism and putting it to use and putting it in action. Because I'm gonna be real, it's the same shit every week that you're bringing out here, and it's weak and it needs to be better.
does she ever say we're too mean to you?
Jimmy, shut up.
I believe one time she asked, she's like, they like you, right? Like, you guys are like all friends, right?
Was that the night that I sent you an apology message after the show?
It might have been. She's also the same wife who, when I told her I was doing a brand new show, her response was, "Do you think people really want to see that much of you, though?" So
that's a good point.
She's my harshest critic and my biggest supporter, Kelsey.
Sounded believable as fuck.
Yeah. She's standing by him right now. Just
anyways, Joe Barry.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's looking at the breakdown, it's clear that he's made real adjustments. And then with the report that he basically came to Jair and said, "You guys figure it out. How do you want to handle Justin Jefferson?" And that's exactly how we'll move forward with it. So it seems to be working. It's an impressive turnaround from this defense, and just can't imagine what would have happened early on in the season if, playing against guys like Bailey Zappi and Taylor Heineke, if they had been playing defense like this.
Well, then they'd have only 2 more wins and probably the 3 seed maybe. And do you really want to even make the playoffs if you're only the fucking 3 seed, Dan?
I knew he was going to this.
I do.
I knew he was going to this.
I don't know. It sounds like, because otherwise you could be, picking a little bit higher, and that might be nice.
Can we buy an extra round for Mason Crosby? 56-yarder? I thought he was dead.
Yeah, he was close to going on for me. I didn't think there was a shot for that to go in. And everybody was so hyped for him going into the locker room. That was crazy.
And the way to have it happen off of the crossbar and in, just the sound of a football hitting a crossbar in a dead silent stadium like that, there is nothing better.
Yeah. And then all the fans behind it started cheering right away. And you were like, is that going in? That's not going in, is it? It did.
It was crazy. I looked to the Vikings fan next to me. I was like, "You guys are good. There's no chance for this." I looked. I was like, "Oh, I'll take that. I'll take that L again. I'm happy about it."
All right, let's jump into pay the tab. Jimmy, why don't you start us off this time?
Yeah, I'll let Jimmy go.
God damn it, Todd. I'm going with Justin Jefferson. The biggest thing is just his complaining for that taunting penalty, because Alexander did the gritty after he broke up a pass. That is crazy to me. You do the gritty all the time. He didn't look at you. He didn't point at you. He just danced away very beautifully.
He looked at him.
Just like this, though, but it was part of the dance, so you can't be mad. He side-eyed him. That's fine. As long as you don't look directly, you're good. So it's just if you have a signature move, you got to expect somebody to do it back at you. Especially someone that talks so much and just said you had a fluke game a few days ago. What do you think he was going to do? Break it up and help you up and be like, "Oh, you'll get it next time, bud."
Yeah. Well, like how many times have we seen people hit Rodgers with the belt after sacking them?
Right.
Sorry that Justin Jefferson just doesn't have that ability that Rodgers does to immediately make that team pay for doing it. Like, imagine if Jefferson would have got up and then went off for the rest of the game and went over 125, like both of you clowns said he was gonna. Some genius on this show said absolutely not.
I said for sure.
Yeah. Then I don't think he's as upset about the gritty, but because he had one catch for 16 yards, which I didn't realize until I was looking at stats before this game. Aaron Rodgers was sacked once for 16 yards. For Justin Jefferson to have the same amount of yards as Aaron Rodgers was sacked for, not a good look.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it seemed like right from the beginning, because I mean that play happened early. What was that? Was that second quarter? I think.
No, that was right. I think that was right away in the first.
First quarter. Like, to be that upset by it in the first quarter, like it seemed like right off the bat, Justin Jefferson knew that this guy was in his head.
Yeah.
And it felt different. Like for a second, I was kind of like worried. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like the belt, like mocking the belt. He's going to come out and he's going to be, he's going to have an amazing game just to show us up. But yeah, to see him act like that right on the very first time he gets thrown to, really stood out to me.
Then hit a referee with his helmet during a tantrum. that was the best part.
And then the part of his taunting quote is like, he's just doing this stuff to try and get in my head. Bro, he was in your head.
Yeah.
He incepted the fuck out of you. He was in your head all game. Like,
I know.
You had one catch for 16 yards. He was in your head.
And what I don't understand is like, yeah, like that's half of the game is the mental side. Like, why? Like, you're saying it as if he was doing something, underhanded or shady or whatever. It's like, that's his fucking job, is to get in your head.
Well, he was kind of shady because he had that quick dry cement or sand coming out of his cleats when he would run, so that he always had good footing in the swamp that they were playing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That leads perfectly right into somebody else.
Let's keep this up. Todd, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I'll let you go. I let it before you take it.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of conspiracy theories and everything under the sun like that, Vikings fans, you guys, for a team that has a shot at the number 1 seed, are really in your feelings about losing a apparently insignificant game that you guys didn't care about to a team that's barely making it into the playoffs. It is Wednesday, my brothers in Christ. We are post 72 hours.
They're not our brothers.
We're all brothers in Christ.
Not even the same species as those clowns.
They're the demons from hell.
We are a full 72 hours post game, and there are still Vikings fans running through Twitter right now. Just I don't know, spewing the most weird conspiracy theories. There's video breakdowns of how only parts of Lambeau Field were flooded, so that the wide receivers couldn't get off their breaks fine, and weird stuff like this. And it's like, guys, we shut the fuck up after week 1. We did our job. We came out and realized that our team played like dog shit in week 1. We took our medicine, got better, and kicked your asses. Be a bigger person. Shut up, take your ass kicking, and go away. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was the whole field thing just doesn't make sense to me. It's not like, I don't know. They're all playing on the same fucking field. How does it only help one team then? Your
because
team,
Packer players were
the right
as well.
Yeah, and they also wore outside cleats that would help them, not slip in a grass field while it was raining earlier and while snow was melting on, like, you guys been at fucking Lambeau before. You know what's going on.
So they would have got in. I'm assuming they keep the same travel itinerary as every other team. They would have got in Saturday night. They would have been there for precipitation in that area to know, hey, just like every year when we play here in the cold, it's going to be slippery. And now there's some precipitation that came down. Let's plan accordingly.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like the Packers said, "Hey, we're going to play this over at Ashwaubenon East." You know, like you're not playing at a high school field that you've never played in before. Your organization has literally played a game in the stadium once a year for like 60 years. So you should know what to prepare for. And like Emma said, you would think they would know how to come to Lambeau and lose. But
Zadarius and Sullivan should have told them, like, hey, you guys need special cleats.
Well, here's the other thing is because they don't know how to win. They're finally having a season again where they're winning some games and they don't know how to deal with that. So it's the combination of having a good season in the record. I don't think they're having that good a season. I don't know that a whole lot of people agree with that. Having a good season in the record or in the standings and then losing poorly to the Packers. That's what they don't know how to deal with, because in their head, the only thing that matters is your record. They didn't realize you still had to play the game.
All right, Todd.
You mentioned him for me, Dan. I'm going with little Z, Zadarius. Just comes out again. I'm sure a lot of it was trying to play a little bit of mind games, which is a huge part of sports. Not shaking hands beforehand, and then disappearing for the rest of the game. Just absolutely incredible. Not showing up pretty much anywhere on the stat sheet. A couple of tackles. Okay, you can fall down and have a couple tackles,
and literally sprinted off the field right after the game.
Yep.
Didn't want to talk to him beforehand. Refused to talk to him after. I get you might feel slighted by the organization, but like you did play with those guys for like 3 years and had developed friendships with them. But
yeah, you would think.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that goes into all that drama people were talking about. That maybe Zadarius actually wasn't really liked on the team, except maybe by Preston Smith for 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I once I saw that he had done that, I tweeted it out with that gif of Baker Mayfield when the University of Kansas football team refused to shake his hands.
Yep.
And he's just like, okay. And what did Baker do right after that? He literally, I think, just dropped like 40 points on their asses. And bang. That's what fucking happens. That's what happens when a fraud team like that comes into a situation like this and starts buying their own shit way more than they should be. And you got exposed for it. And Z, the biggest fraud of them all. And I'm tired of the pleasantries anymore. Fuck him.
His daddy came back. Bakhtiari was there this game. Like, couldn't do shit against him. Elton Jenkins was back on the inside. Like, it's not the same offensive line they had their way with week one. Like, it's a way better offensive line. Bakhtiari is still one of the best left tackles in the league, and he showed Zadarius why he didn't get that big contract from the Packers. So go fuck yourself, Zadarius.
Anyone else? Todd, would you like to tell Z to go fuck himself?
Yeah, Zadarius, you can go fuck yourself, not just for this, but also because I bought a fucking Zadarius jersey back in 2020, and it's a sick fucking jersey, and I've never got to wear it. So, fuck you, Zadarius, for making me buy, for not letting, and he was still here for a year, but he was hurt, so I didn't want to wear it for a dude that's hurt and throwing a fit.
Same. I've got.
Now I've got somebody just Venmo me shipping, and I'll fucking send it to you.
He's like, Todd, do what I did. I turned my Zadarius Smith jersey into a beautiful Devondre Campbell jersey. Just turn that 5 into a 9.
No, I'm on a no jersey, like Jimmy should be.
Me too. No, I wore Quay Walker's jersey to that game, and they dominated.
And he
slammed the
personal
shit
foul.
out of a play. Yeah, and that was beautiful.
Let me say this. I am so glad that dude didn't get hurt so that we can enjoy the fuck out of that hit.
Exactly.
Because if he would have got hit, then we would have been no better than the dirty, shitty Vikings fans that love the Anthony Barr hit. But because dude didn't get hurt on that, we can love the fuck out of that body slam.
It was beautiful. Yeah. I try to be that fan in the stand. I was like, that's not a penalty. And then my dad, I'd be like, Jimmy, you're an idiot. That is clearly one. I was like, I know, but it was just so cool.
Yeah.
Slam the shit out of him. It was like WWE.
See, this is what I miss. I feel like we haven't had the energy that game had between a division rival in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it's been, it's always a little something different. We hate everybody, whatever. But for most of the time, the Packers just waltz in, usually easily win a game, and go home. To have something on the line and have this mean something, it felt like a team that came in pissed off. Like, I literally, we were with family beforehand, and we got on like a kick of watching old Packer highlights, and we brought up why can't I remember his name now? The Charles, he body slammed
Charles Martin.
My
dad has that jersey, yeah.
And I was explaining to Kelsey, I'm like, see, he's got the hit towel, he's got the numbers of everybody that he's gonna go hit, and then to see Quay do that, I'm like, fucking get Quay a hit towel, man. Like, let's get Quay a hit towel. Let's line these people up, and let's just start being badasses, man.
He does have some attitude, though. Even, pushing players on the side that aren't dressed up, maybe a little too far. But you can see him after some plays. He chirps and he's physical. We missed that on our defense. We needed somebody like that because we didn't have anyone that's just going to be kind of an asshole. So hopefully it pans out, and hopefully he just he lets Jamal get 6 yards, get his 1,000 yards, and then fucks him up the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite energy parts for this team in the game was it Rudy's interception that ended up back on the Packers sideline with Justin Jefferson standing there, and nobody touched him, but everybody just surrounded him. Like, where are you going? What are you doing over here? Get out of here! But we're not gonna let you leave. Like you could tell, dude was just like, "Fuck, why am I over here?"
Out of all the places he could have ended up after the interception,
to just end up over there, and the whole team just like, nope, no, no. Like that was fantastic.
And I mean, I think we talked about it a bit with Justin Jefferson and the helmet, but like the little shove from Jair, and like the fact that Justin Jefferson's reaction was to take his helmet off and to throw a fit instead of try to go at Jair.
Yeah,
I think proves that he was broken. They broke them that game. Something changed in them where they were like, "Fuck, we're defeated. Like, this is it." Yeah. Like, there is no.
Well, thank God Jair wasn't in his head though at that point.
Yeah, right. He was just trying to.
Just trying.
Wasn't there yet.
Thoughts on Joe Barry celebrating?
Did he get too hyped?
Hey, his defense was actually doing stuff.
So can he do 2 fists?
He can do a little fists. I call it the Rock'em Sock'em Robot, where you can go like, pow, pow, pow.
Can he make that noise?
Pow, pow, pow.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So do you think so? Like we said, this game had a lot of hype and like intensity we haven't seen in a while, especially since a division rival. Does that carry into next week, or does pressure start to come in?
I hope so. See, this is what kind of gives me worry, is that they come into this week, and let's say they come in with the same intensity, they beat the Lions, they get into the playoffs, and then there's a crash, and they get energy crash into the playoffs because there's, you've been fighting to get into the playoffs. They
conserved so much energy earlier in the season. They've got plenty left in the tank.
So much. Do you okay? But with the Vikings, not the toughest team, but going against a team that's going to match your intensity, like the Lions are going to come, even if the Seahawks win and they have no chance of the playoffs, you know they're coming just to have just one final war against the Packers this season. Like, and the Packers, like, especially under LaFleur, do not do well when a team punches them in the mouth or is physical with them. Like, do you think we have enough hype? We have enough like energy going into that game to where we can match what they have and not let their aggressiveness get in our way?
Without seeing how they played on Sunday, if they wouldn't have had that level of energy on Sunday, I would have been concerned about it. But because of the way that they came out and just attacked and stayed at it throughout the entire game, especially with the defense, it took the offense a bit to get going, but the way that the defense just hung in there, I think that's goal line stand that they had after the block punt, like that set the tone right there. That, like, I think as Packer fans, the way the seasons went, a lot of us at that point went, oh shit, this might be a long day. And then they made that stand and it was like, oh no, we're all right. And then you get the kick return and all of a sudden you're like, hey, this is actually fun. So football's fun again. Who knew? But if they come out with that energy again this week, they're fine. And I don't know that the Lions will even want to be on the field in the second half if this team is playing like they did against the Vikings.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Special teams put us through a fucking roller coaster within 3 minutes of that block punt. And then their next play is a kick return for a touchdown. Like, they had me panicking. After that punt, I looked at my dad and said, here we fucking go. Like, it's
the number of tweets that I saw that were like, damn, the special teams unit's trash. And then within like 5 minutes had a quote tweet of that was like, the special teams unit is awesome.
And I don't blame anyone. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, they fucked us again. But no, I'm with you. That was the tone setter for the game. That defensive stop was huge.
My concern is if Seattle wins and Detroit's out of it and the Packers show up expecting the Lions to just lay down and they don't bring this energy, that, like, I think that's the only way I'm concerned with how they approach this game, is if they're expecting the Lions to lay down, because while I don't think they'll have the same fight in them, they're going to have fight in them regardless.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been better if they put us on Saturday and put the Jakes Titans on Sunday?
I would have appreciated that. I'm not looking forward to getting home at 2 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
They should have every game start at 1 o'clock Eastern, Premier League style, and takes all that away.
Dan, I let you talk about soccer so much.
Yeah.
The playoffs are almost here. Shut up.
We got to stop with this. No one cares anymore. Or even that much then, honestly.
I'm just saying, think about when, I know it's not exactly the same, but think about when the Packers were, what is this? I think this is 2005, I think, taking on the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Easy rollover win. And what did we need? We needed the Cardinals to beat the Vikings. The games are happening simultaneously. You're trying to follow what's happening in the other game. What's going on with us? We got to stay focused.
It was great.
That was that like push out game, right? Where he pushed him out. Yeah.
That's what you could have.
Yeah.
With this.
I was there for that, and it was wild to be up by that much against the Broncos, but everybody thought, well, the Packers aren't making the playoffs, so the place was just like sad. And then all of a sudden they came back. They wouldn't announce the score of the game. It was pre-smartphone. They wouldn't announce the score of the game in the stadium. Some fans in the box had actually turned their TV out, so like I could see a little corner of it just watching the game to see what was going on. So that was cool. I thought they were going to do the late afternoon game with Seattle at the same time. Like that would make sense to have the two games played at the same time, but you want to have a game that could mean something on with the big stars. This is really on Tennessee and Jacksonville for just not having a big enough star on either team to draw some ratings for that game.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to is you want Packers and Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
And as much as Detroit sucked over the years, they do have some diehard fans that's stuck with them through the time. So they'll get some good ratings. And I don't know. So what makes you the most, looking at that game, what makes you the most, like what player on that offense or defense, mainly I can't even name a defensive player besides Hutchinson and Houston. What makes you the most nervous going into that game? Or do you think it is the Packers to lose?
I think it's the Packers to lose. Like there's nobody on their offense that's better than anybody that the Vikings have on offense. And there was nobody on the Vikings offense that gave us any trouble. Defensively, again, I think once this offense starts hitting their stride, one thing that I saw that really stood out was it 2020 was Tunyon's big year when we kind of said, like, it's not that he was like playing phenomenal. They were scheming him open. And on his touchdown, he didn't do anything. He didn't run a good route and shake somebody. They schemed him open. And if they can start getting this offense clicking again like it was then, when they could get Robert Tonyan open and just scheme for certain guys to do things and be there and have an opportunity, that I think this offense gets scary. And I think that the defense, it is one of those teams that just feels young enough in the Lions that like they might, if they find out that they're actually kind of good, they might be really bad and they might start to press and make some mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Corey K hit it right on the head with that comment of complacency. That's my biggest thing, because everything is spot on with what Todd said.
Thank you, as per usual.
Yeah, we have the better we have the better players up and down the board. We have a better overall coaching staff. We're at home. We have more we potentially will have more on the line than they do. It's worrying about an emotional letdown from this Vikings game, and it's about, if things start to go wrong like they did back in whatever that was, the first Lions game, where if things start to go bad, you let them start to snowball and they just get worse and worse and worse. You start to fall into your old routine. That's my biggest worry with this game. It's not anything particularly that the Detroit Lions do well. It's that we could come in and just fall easily right back into doing the stuff that got us into that losing streak.
But I think that game against the Lions, I think, is actually going to be somewhat of a saving grace into this. Of one, Rodgers even said it. That was rock bottom for the team. Like, you lost to a one-win Lions team with the worst defense in a very long time. And now you're going into this game and they're still giving up, like, I think I saw 5.3 yards per carry. And now, like, we didn't run that well last time. We have Bakhtiari for a full game. Jenkins is back at left tackle. Whether we have Yash or Tom at right tackle, like, they've been really good, whichever one's been in there. Like, we have a much better offensive line. Dillon seems to be the player he was last year. And Jones had like a quiet 100-yard game last week. Like, I think that loss, even if the Lions have no chance and they come out aggressive, like, I don't think the Packers will have that sense of like the complacency, like Corey said. Like, that loss is going to be in their head, that rock bottom feeling. They don't want to have that again twice against the Lions in the same season.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's interesting for us, because I swear if we asked Kenny or anybody else on the team about if they're worried about complacency, like legitimately, like, just one-on-one, like friendly conversation, ask him about it, I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny would just be like, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is our like livelihood. Like, of course we're going to come in here and play, like this. But as fans, it's hard not to think about that. All right, guys, do you want to jump into little bar bets for this game?
Let's do her.
All right. Will the Green Bay Packers defense/special teams score a touchdown this week against the Detroit Lions, Todd?
I'm going to go 5 Bakhtiaris. No, simply because it's been it feels like it's been forever since we've seen it. And for it to happen, both of them in the same game, we're not ready for that kind of excitement again.
Can't take it. Little Heart can't take it.
Little Heart can't take it.
Jimmy?
I don't know. I'm gonna go yes. I feel like we're on a streak right now. Razul's gonna get one. I have a feeling Goff has been playing well, but we're going into Lambeau. I hope it's cold as shit. We've already beat Goff in the playoffs there. Like I think he'll give us some. So I think Razul will jump a route and take it to the house. 5 Bakhtiaris.
5 Bakhtiaris? Okay. You know what? You sold me on it. I was going to say yes. I was going to go a few less Bakhtiaris, but I'll go 5. I'll go 5 with you too. I think you know what? I'll go one step further. I think it's a defensive lineman. Kenny got in there. He demolished that defensive line. And
I called that, by the way. I called the strip sack. No big deal. I also called the Amos pick.
Lombardi's bar bump made that happen, not you, Todd.
A collective. The community.
Yeah.
It was me.
That's fair. I'll give it to you, honestly. You're confident in it, so I'm confident in it.
I called the Keshawn Nixon kickoff like weeks ago on Twitter.
Okay, saying I feel like this guy is going to return a kick for a touchdown and he does it a month later, that's not the same as saying, let's get a pick right here, and Adrian Amos ends up with the ball on that play.
Hold the phone. We haven't talked about the biggest thing from this past weekend. Guys, I am on a streak right now.
Oh, you just jinxed it. Good fucking job.
I have every time an opposing kicker lines up for a kick, and right as they kick, I go up to the TV screen and I go, they have missed. I'm 4 for 4. Joe Barry, Rich Bisaccia, credit me for 2 missed field goals.
So there's a blowjob joke in there, but this is a family show, so we're not gonna go there.
Yeah, I will happily take blowjob jokes if it means I am God of all things nature.
All right, what's this next? Bar bet?
The next bar bet is who will have more total yards, A.J. Dillon or Jamal Williams. Overall, on average through the season, they've been relatively similar. There's been some spikes here and there, but they kind of each game usually about the same. Todd?
I'm gonna go A.J. Dillon on this one. 5 Bakhtiaris. Once again, I think just down the stretch, Packers are going to run the ball more.
I'm going with Todd. I'm going to go A.J. Dillon just because of the passing game too, because we're doing all-purpose yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon because of the passing game. Jamal will probably have more on the ground just because they use him more there. But I think overall, and there's going to be a point where I think I'm hoping we'll have a lead to where they need to rely on the pass game. Not as confident as Todd. I'm going to go 4 Bakhtiaris.
Okay. I'm going to go 4 Bakhtiaris as well. But I'm actually going to go Jamal Williams, and here's why.
Tell us.
I think this defensive secondary shuts down anything passing-wise for the Lions. They're going to have to rely on short little stuff coming out of the backfield, either running, little dink and dunk passes to the running backs. And I think A.J. Dillon is, a third or fourth option on an offense that is starting to develop some really big offensive threats. So I just wonder if he's going to have enough slice of the pie to really compete. And so that's where I'll go Jamal Williams, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for the Packers.
So I just want to point out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers secondary also shut down anything that the wide receivers of the Vikings were trying to do. Combined, the Vikings running backs had 89 total yards, rushing and receiving. So even if the defense does that again to their wide receivers, I just don't know that the yards are there for.
Okay.
for these
Yeah.
guys. So you're wrong. Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's kind of been a theme for you in this show.
Our last one. Will Aaron Rodgers play his last game as a Packer at Lambeau on Sunday? Jimmy?
I'm gonna keep the positive thoughts going. We're going on a Super Bowl run. He's gonna win it and retire on top and ride off into the ayahuasca sunset. So I'm gonna say yes. 2 Bakhtiaris.
Don?
I'm going to go 5 Bakhtiaris. No, just because I'm not ready to mentally have that conversation with myself at this point. So we're going to table it till the off season. So I'm going to go 5 Bakhtiaris. No.
Okay. I will go 3 Bakhtiaris. And I'll say no. I'll say no as well, just because
that pains you so much. I know that hurts when you have to say that.
Look at Tom Brady. That guy threw away a marriage to a supermodel because he couldn't get over the addiction that is football. If Aaron Rodgers, let's say I think either way, whether he wins Super Bowl or not, I think that draw is there is not enough ayahuasca in the world to beat that kind of high of being a football player.
He'll figure that out.
So I say no. I don't think there's a chance.
I don't know. I think they're different people though. Well, clearly they are, but I think Rodgers will have a much easier time walking away from the game than Brady.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I guess we'll figure out next week. Are we going to be doing a season wrap-up show?
No.
Or are we going to be talking about a playoff game against probably the 49ers? So I guess we'll see what happens then. Tune in next week, everybody, for that exciting conclusion.
And I won't be here next week, so it's a bonus to come on. It's just Todd yelling at Dan for a while.
No matter what happens in the game, it's a win.
Yeah, it's a win for everyone. I got to be in Dallas for work.
And why can't you do the show from Dallas?
Because we have like different functions. I don't know. We have one event on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we're doing like a murder mystery dinner as a company. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
Kill everyone and then come do the show.
I might kill myself at the start of it and just walk out.
Oh, sorry guys, I'm dead.
There's been another one and just.
All right. Well, gang, that's going to do it for us. If you have not done so already, make sure that you are following the show on Twitter at Lombardi's Bar.
Todd's doing a solo show next week. No, Dan, call in from prison.
I'll do that. Make sure you subscribe on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel so you get notified every time that we go live. For producer Nick, still back at home, for Jimmy, for Todd, your bartender Dan Koenig saying cheers, everyone, and as always, go Pack Go.